When did you get into music then? Was it in secondary school or was it
Oh
one of your senior?
man, yeah, jeez. You know when I told you my story is funny? Like
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
it's just so wild. Like when I was in secondary school, it was really just me rapping on the end of like songs. Like I'd hear a song, and the other way like the song has like the 8 bar count. That would be me. I'd just be in my room freestyling until the song would end, then it'd go into the next song and I'd be like, oh, this is tough. Then like after a while I'd like just play, like I go on YouTube and I go type beats. And that was when it
100%.
started. Like it just was me rapping over type beats. And then I met this one guy. He was like so much younger than me in the same school. And his name was Hayden Brady. That guy is a champion because I was like a year older than him or two. And he was like, oh my God, you're such like somebody sent me your song. I forgot who it was now. Yeah, so there's this guy I know, his name is Jay Cronin, and he was just a guy younger than me. He was so funny, and I sent him the song. So he was like, "Oh, I have a producer friend. I'll put you on." So he puts me on, and then from then on, the producer was just sending me beats, and like I'd send him the vocals, he'd mix them, and we'd just have songs. But like I didn't know anything about music back then. So as I grew up, I was in like I think sixth year. I was just like I said, I met this guy Vi, and I was just showing them my songs all the time in technology class with Mr. Gormley. And yeah, from then on, it was like I did my first performance, did my second performance, made so much music,
I
gained an
feel like
audience.
that's jumping forward very
Just jump,
quickly.
like I know, there's no.
To your first performance. So
Yeah.
what age were you then when you started? Like let's say, like when did you release your first song?
It's like 18.
18. And like how
18.
many years prior to that did you kind of start, let's say, dipping your toes in the water and
Dipping my toes in the water. I think when I was 18, I dropped my first song, and it was kind of just within your friend group, like that. That was all it was. And then I think let's say about we gave it like 3 months, and like the next song after that was better than the last. Third song came out, and it was Scope, and that's when I really understood like, oh my God, like this is music, if you get what I mean. So when I put that out, it did like 15,000 streams after a while. I think when I put it out at first, it did 200 and I gave up. So that was me done.
Okay.
Right? And I was like, oh my God, like what the hell? Like I just kept making music, but I didn't really think twice about like structure or anything like that. So I think a year lapped around and there was like an open mic. And I went to the open mic. I registered for the open mic to perform, and I had like 3-4 songs, and all my friends came through. I think we still have the picture. And all my friends came through, and we just had a time. Like I played all my songs, and we just kind of had a time, and that's kind of when it really started, because it was like, from then on, I was like, all the music I'm holding on to, what's the point if I don't like consistently put it out? And I think that's when I started putting out music.
what was your circle like at the time then, your friend group, let's say? Like were they into music or were you kind of like the odd one out, and was that kind of difficult to like branch away from them and do something so different?
Oh, man, like I can't even say we were different, because we were all kind of figuring it out together. Like my friend group when I was starting was like I'd have my music friends, then I'd have my friends, if you get what I mean. But they were like kind of connected because like we all knew each other, you know what I mean? Like the producer knew my friends and all this kind of stuff, and we'd all chill at my house. And when we were chilling at my house, it was just like, oh, like you're a rapper, let's freestyle. And I'm like, we just start freestyling. We'd switch up type beats, or somebody would play beats, and we'd just be rapping left and right, front and center. And more time from that is where like the songs really came from, you know?
Okay. And at what point like did you kind of commit to it and say, okay, I'm actually going to try and pursue this properly and make a career out of it?
Damn.
Was that a few years later, or did you know fairly early on, like?
Is that something you're still figuring out? Do you know what I mean?
When did I sit down and figure out that it was gonna be a career? To this day, I still don't know if it's a career. I don't even know how I'm here. Like, to be real with you, I was like, I think it's. I really want to say it's still something that I'm figuring out, because
Right,
it's
okay.
like, I think the people around you validate it more than you do. Like, I think as you make music, like everything that I'm making, I just play for myself. It's something I'm comfortable with. It's something I like. But when people start to be like, oh, you're a rapper, I'd be like, oh, I'm not a rapper. Trust me, I can rap. Trust me. Like, but I'm not a rapper. Like, I'm not an
'cause
artist.
myself looking in, like I would not view it like that. Like you're at a very high level.
Oh,
If you're looking at the Irish scene, like there's not too many doing it.
oh,
No.
uh,
In Dublin, there's probably a lot of competition up there.
yeah. Like, not even like competition. More time, people are quite friendly. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many people who like you will literally bump into them in person. I was out yesterday. I was at a meeting yesterday, and I ran into Danzy, and I had Danzy did a headline earlier in the 25th, 26th of August. That was one of the best headlines I've ever seen, and we just had the place sweating, and that was lovely. Like, we're good friends, and I ran into him, and I ran into Fortune, and there they just sent me a track, and I was like, that's how the music is made. They sent me the open, and I was like, oh, cool. And I went home yesterday, and I recorded it. And that's just how friendly people are in Dublin. You can really just kind of make songs with everybody. Everybody's kind of interminglable, but
Right.
you still kind of have to have your own personal identity, like something that makes you yourself, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And with the name, where did that come from? Also, your name is Victor, so
Yeah,
V, and then where did like Sensei
Oh,
come from?
man.
Anime or something?
This is a story I've been dying to tell my whole life. My technology teacher in secondary school, he was really nice, Mr. Gormley. That guy is one of one. And I think, remember COVID, when COVID first happened, 2019. We were sitting there, and remember I told you I just started making music, and I was showing it to people in class or whatever, and I was really nice about it, and I was like, oh, look, listen to this. So, like, he got around to it, because he was so sad, he'd, like, come up to me, like, let me hear some, this is the music. So, because the project we had to do didn't matter, because it was COVID years, right? All we did when we got into a technology class was sit there and do actobolics. We were literally just doing homework or something like that, but he kind of came to me, he was like, it was me and my friend Vi, and we were trying to figure out my rap name. So my technology teacher wanted me to go with V. And I was watching so much anime at the time. Like you were saying.
There you go.
I was watching so much anime at the time, and I was like, Sensei is so good. You can't lie. He was like, what if it's just like your last name, McKinday? Like, come on, like give it a bit of grit. Like he was like, nah, but Victor is still like tough, like if it was just your name. So I merged the two. I was like, look, you're right. V-Sensei it is.
Yeah.
And then I think I came in the next day and I kind of told him, I was like, yeah, V-Sensei it is. My claim to fame. In a couple of years' time, hold on to that.
I feel like any name is cool when you become like a big star. Let's say.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Doesn't
It
matter.
could be the shittest name in the beginning, but then when you're big, it's cool. It just becomes cool.
Yeah, like Glaive. Prime example. Glaive. Like you'd look at that and be like, oh, it's just a word.
Yeah,
Now
if someone's
it's
starting
like-
off, you'd be like, no.
Yeah, now it's like it's actually one of the best hyper
Yeah,
pop
100%. Who would you say were like some of your influences starting out? Like, did you try to model your, let's say, style off some maybe American rappers, or who was
Oh
it?
yeah, there was a good couple. Like I'd like to say like most people I've met like in music have they have that one artist that kind of core valued them, and then for me it was kind of just like a mix of artists, but there was always that one artist that I was obsessed with. I think I was in like fifth year. Juice WRLD died. My life came crumbling down
Oh,
into
yeah.
pieces. I think I was listening to him so much, like all the music he was making that came out at the time. Even somebody told me he was performing at Longitude, and I was like, I didn't really pay too much attention to like where artists were performing. I was like 16.
Yeah.
I didn't really
At
it
that age, you're
wasn't
not in the
something
loop.
that I was interested in. I was just interested in music, and he was dropping with Lil Uzi and all them, and all these songs like Goodbye and Good Riddance and that whole tape, and I'll Be Fine, and then. My friend put me on, and I think I was listening to him so much that was almost what I was trying to emulate. And even to this day, like people call him like one of the best freestylers off the dome. I think there was this one Capital interview. He was freestyling for like an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Non-stop. And everybody's like, it's funny because like now he's gone, you know what I mean? And there's just so much song. There's almost like 400, 500 songs out there. And everybody's like, even the Chainsmokers were on an interview one time and they're like, doesn't everybody have a song with you? So like, didn't he just,
Yeah.
wasn't he just able to like walk in a room and like give you like 3 tracks? And I think that's something I really modeled after. I was always like freestyling and, all the music I was making, like even all the songs that are out that you guys know me from were probably freestyles that came out of me. And I was like, all right, great. And I sat there and I probably like recorded it in my little desk and was like, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like this is it at the time. It was just a song at the time.
So that's how you go about it. It's always like
Yeah.
a freestyle instead of sitting down and writing out the lyrics.
Yeah, I think when it comes, I don't know why, but recently it's when it comes to other people's work. Like if somebody sends me a song, I'll sit down and I'll write it, and then I'll give it a go at the freestyle thing and be like, oh, does this work? And like people will always meet me in person and be like, Like we'll sit in a room and everybody's writing, and I'm like, oh, I'll just go in there and we'll see what happens. And,
Is that unique? Do you think, or
I think it's just something I've learned to do. Like it's
Okay.
just so much easier for me.
yeah,
And
it
like
seems like it'd be a lot harder.
yeah, I need to get tested and find out if I'm dyslexic, because sometimes I look at writing and I'm like, words are missing and it's not making sense. And like
Right.
somebody else will. It's always a problem when like sometimes I do write. So let's say I write something, right, and I'm working with an artist and I write something. I'll show it to them to give them an idea of like what we're going for, and like a word will be missing, like and or you or something like that, and it throws me off so much to the point that more time I do stick to freestyling, in the songs that do come out, we're probably like
Right.
right, you know.
Okay.
Are you at the point now where you're still kind of using type beats to find inspiration, or are you kind of looking towards producers and stuff?
No. I think my friends are mainly the producers. Like my friend, I've been blessed to be able to work with like When the Beat Is Bad for ages, for like Falling
Wow.
and stuff. And Busy on the Beat was great. And when I say there was also this producer I work with as well. His name's P Han. He's so good, and like some of my unreleased music would be kind of towards him. But like early on in like the career, I was using type beats.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think type beats were like, even to this day, are still kind of like.
It's a great
you
form of finding
it's
inspiration as
great
well.
form of finding inspiration. You can
Yeah.
literally like search up any type beat and you can get what you want. But the important thing is kind of like buy the beat and talk to the producer. Like,
Yeah.
it's not about. It's
Yeah.
really like, it's like if you put work online and somebody was to take it from you, you'd be like, why did you do that without talking to me first? If you get what I
Yeah,
mean.
100%.
So that's type beats.
I think a lot of young artists need to start doing a little bit more of that, like networking
Yeah.
through the beats and stuff.
Yeah, and then there was a short period of time where I played guitar. I still do, but that was kind of like the freestyle with the guitar. When you can play and you can freestyle. Oh my god, it's just so much more inspiration, and I was able to like talk to my producer and just be like, this is what I want. Like this is exactly what I want, and then we'd be able to like replicate that and kind of go forward, and then you'd kind of get an idea that branches out both ways. It was
Do you think it's important for like rappers like yourself to know how to produce to a certain extent, or not really?
like to a certain extent, like I'd even like to say myself, I just produce my own vocals. That's kind of it, you know. And to a certain extent, like you know what you like and you know what you don't like. You know what I mean? Like, but producing is like a big part of it, and it's something like I will dwell on in the future. But as of now, I don't think I can say, oh, I'm a producer. But I can say I know what I like and what I don't like in production, you know?
Yeah. What do you think makes the most difference? There's probably differing opinions on it, like the beat itself or the actual bars.
I'd love to say like character. Like I like to think of music as character, especially like when you're promoting your music. It has to like you almost have to believe what you're saying, if you get what I mean. So I would like to think bars, but a good, like they're both almost subpar to each other. Like there's been a lot of people I know recently. It's like the bars do sometimes carry the song, because it does. Like when you think about a thing, you hum the melody first, then you think about the lyrics. Like Tyler dropped a project recently, and all I can think about is that, you know, chromacopia, and it's just like, it's literally just that vocal, and the beat is just.
Yeah. What do you think about the way, actually, I seen a bit about that, the way he marketed that, it was an album, wasn't it?
Album.
Yeah, the way he marketed that was really unique, wasn't it?
Genius.
He created like this character or
Oh,
something.
genius.
And like merch around it and whatnot.
Genius, absolute genius.
Yeah.
I'd like to say I pride myself on something like that. Like I pride myself on like music marketing. Like if you can't market your music, sometimes good music can bring you a great market, but you want to be at a stage where you can kind of do everything yourself. If you get what I mean. So with him, it was like that was one of the best rollouts I've ever seen.
Do you know what? Do you know like the details of how he went and done it? Because
I think-
I don't know the in depth. If you
I
want to
think
like
it was
explain
like he took green trucks around the city, and he kind of parked them in different locations, and they'd play the song, and then he'd have people like come up like fans. He'd like, there was an app you could track the vans on, and he'd go up and like let people sign them. And for certain things, he just would pop out and do such a thing. Like he'd pop out on top inside one of the trucks and just do a performance.
Yeah.
Which I thought was crazy. It was almost like Kanye when Kanye was doing his album, and you know what I mean, he was just doing so much weird stuff. And then he'd do like a listening party, but the Chromacopia like listening party was just him in an arena. It was almost a performance. It was great.
Yeah.
And people were listening, and I think like something like that is just so hard to replicate. It's so hard to do. It's something like people need to start thinking about more. Like getting outside of the box. Like,
Yeah, you have to. I think with marketing, you have to really think outside the box. It's so competitive.
yeah,
If you're doing what everyone else is doing, it's gonna be so hard.
it's like playing a video game. You know what I mean? You can pay to win any game.
Yeah.
Like, if you had the money to do such thing, would you do it? And it's also like the creative mind. It's like, what makes people think? You know?
Would you ever do your own listening party?
Huh?
Would you ever do a listening party yourself?
Yeah, I think I'd have to.
Like Kanye, like something
like
like
Kanye,
something unique.
I think I'd have to, but I'd have to do some like weird shit. Can I swear?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, I'd have to do something like criminally insane, so fuck shit. Something just you wouldn't think this was happening today. Like, something like I tried to do like early on in my career, I tried to do something so interesting. Every performance, like, you wouldn't like think I'd jump into the crowd. You wouldn't think I'd come out with a guitar and actually start playing it. You wouldn't think I'd show up with a live band. Like, I'm like, you know what I mean? Most people would think of me as a rapper, and I'm like, like, I just like to confuse people. You know? But yeah, I definitely like throw a listening party, but it'd have to be like a little bit more than a listening party.
Yeah.
You know?
On the marketing side, what have you found that works for yourself?
I've noticed that like personal image, personal branding. Like, when I was saying how the chromacopia is great, when I did BOTB, I really loved the personal branding on that, where it was like pink and white. And that was kind of the color scheme for like the post, and that was the color scheme for like the pictures and stuff. And then I did a couple short kind of promo videos leading up to the single release, and it was so much easier because it's like color association is what it's called, and you'd associate the color with a person. So whatever you see the colors like pink and white on my story, you'd know that I'm talking about the single.
Right.
And it's just so like, I love making, like, you can make a world out of music so simply, and I think that's what it was for me. It was like, I listened to the song over and I was like, what can I make? You know what I mean? So I think going forward for now, I think I'm just going to be doing that, making the world and being like, come in and explore it.
Right,
you know?
right, okay. What does that involve? Like, when you say make a world, like, what else is involved around that?
Meeting the people. What does that entail? Like, for me, it entailed like kind of sitting down and grafting the idea going forward. Then it also involved like stepping outside of my comfort zone, and like in terms of like, you'd have to wear something consistently. For like the majority of my performances at the time, I think I'd show up to places in like a white shirt and a pink tie. And that was kind of just like personal branding, because the single was still out, and most time people would expect you to perform your like song that's doing the most well. Like, so personal branding was just that, you know, for me. And then shooting videos around that kind of color scheme and seeing what I could do in that regard, you know.
And obviously, we were chatting earlier, like, you're a photographer and videographer as well. You're getting into that. Cinematography, yeah. So with your own like your music videos, do you edit that as well yourself?
Yeah, no. For my music videos, recently I think for all my like short form content, I edit myself.
Okay.
But I think for my music videos that have actually like come out recently, I mean, like last year, I dropped a video for Falling. I think it was beginning of this year, last year. Shot by this guy, Max, Paperbag Studios, great guy, and he was kind of the leader of like the ideas and stuff, because he came to me with this kind of idea, a proposal, and I was like, that is genius. Yeah, how did you come up with that? And we kind of just bounced ideas off each other's heads, and we came out with like a finished product. But I think cinematography, like knowing cinematography and knowing photography, really just helped me as an artist in general. Like, I think so many people would like be like, oh, why would I do photography? Like, I'm an artist. But it sometimes it really does take away, because like, they won't take you seriously as a photographer because you're an artist. They won't take you seriously as an artist because you're a photographer. You know?
You just have to be so good that they
you just have to
can't question it.
You have to throw it in their faces.
Yeah,
yeah, but that's that.
What about college? Did you go?
Oh, college, yeah. No, I studied mental health nursing. I'm still in mental health nursing.
Okay.
In second year in Trinity. College life while being a musician is just so hard. Like, being able to like juggle both.
Yeah.
I think last year I was on placement a lot, and that really like conflicted with my music. I'd be in like nursing homes talking about, hey, I'm doing a show soon. Like, it's like
no way.
I'm doing a show soon. I was mental health nurse, so I'd be in like a lot of like HSE facilities, which is so funny. And like, I think like they'd always love me because they'd be like, your personality just bleeds through in what you're doing. So like, I'd be walking through the house and be like, I'd just be singing like, and I'd be like, "You're just such a great crack." And I was like, "Thanks," but it's just something that I've like noticed in myself. It's like it's actually a problem. It's become a problem in my day to day. You'll catch me singing, doing important tasks. Like I don't know, like I could be writing an email and I'll be singing. It's a problem.
Do you enjoy it? Like, what made you choose psych nursing?
I think it was my mom. My mom went into nursing, and that kind of influenced me. And then growing up, I had this like home ec teacher. Her name was Miss McCabe. She was so nice, and she was like, she knew like I was a people's person before I knew I was a people's person. So she pointed it out to me one of the days when we were going to the CEO, and she was like, nursing like seems like you. You know what I mean? And I think just mental health nursing just seemed like more of an impact than general nursing. Like general nursing just seemed very like full on. So I said psych nursing, and that kind of put me at peace. You know, it was just really nice to be able to like check both of them and be like, look, this one's for me. This is for me.
Do you think when you finish it out, is that what you, now that you have music obviously in the picture, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts behind that?
That's a question that everybody on this earth will ask me. It's like, so what are you thinking with like music in college? Like it's one of those things that the general answer is always going to be like, if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
But it's not something that like you'll ever stop doing at the end of the day. I think more time people would do their profession to fund their dreams. But I think like, because my dream is very both, like it doesn't really matter. There's not like, it's just so difficult to try and choose. And I'm still coming to terms with that kind of process of like, mental health nursing, full-time musician, you know?
Yeah.
But they're both like very different, so it's like, but they're both nice. They both have like pros and cons.
Right. Okay. So if you could go full-time music, would you take it in a heartbeat, or is it still a hard decision?
It'd be a heartbeat.
Really?
I think,
yeah, you
actually think it'd be a heartbeat now. I'm a liar.
Yeah. When did you release your biggest track, Baddest on the Beat?
That was July, in and around July. Busy on the Beat is what it's called.
Sorry, Busy on the Beat.
But Busy on the Beat came out in July, and that was like a song that was never supposed to come out. Never supposed to see the light of day.
Really?
And I think it was my girlfriend and my friend Daniel who really convinced me to put that out.
Why didn't you want to put it out?
It was like, it was such how do I say this in a nice way? It was so funny to me. Too funny to me.
Really?
Like, it was like, Bluetooth, maybe we connected. I think it's mad that everything's subjective. I got my loafers on, so I'm stepping so clean. Like, it was so jokingly not supposed to be a serious song.
It didn't feel like a serious song, is what you're saying.
So, like, you know the way in art history you think you're supposed to take, like when people say you're taking music seriously, you're supposed to take music seriously. And I like to have fun. But that song, when I sat at my desk and I recorded it, I was like, it's fun. And I was in Spain at the time, and I was like, I was with a couple of friends, and they were like, so what new music are you working on? So I showed it to them. I was like, look, this is the new music I'm working on. They're like, no, but this is good. Like, why isn't this is like a must on my playlist? And I was like, okay, for you.
So do you like the song?
Was that the finished track at that point?
Yeah. Like,
and at that point,
I got it mastered and everything. Shout out Kilte.
I guess it's hard to predict then how well it's going to do, like, any track, isn't it?
That was the problem.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2-3 weeks in or something like that. Like, even 3 days, actually. It did like 1,000 streams, and I was like, okay. Then, like, the following 2 days later, 4,000 streams. I was like, hey, cool. All right, that's the best that'll do. It's time to move on. 10,000 streams. I said, we'll double down. See what this universe has in store. And I think, like, the streams, like, never mattered to me, but it's just always a constant reminder, dude, you have to, like, step it up. Like, you have to keep giving the people what they want, because it's, like, not even what they want. If you want to release something, release it. Because there's no point in, like, letting it die in you. Because I was going to sit on that song till, like, I turned 50. It just wasn't supposed to be what it is, and I love it for what it is, you know.
Yeah. And how did that song get out there? Like, how did people find out about it? Like, was it just through your own socials, or is there any other way that you promoted it?
Actually,
what about playlists and Spotify and stuff?
Nothing on playlists, nothing. Like, I think it was just like, I really want to say it's organic, but I actually don't know. I think it was like I did a bunch of Instagram promo. I was doing a lot of short film content with my friends and stuff. Like, we'd go out and we'd film something, like little short pieces to kind of put BOTB out, and like we put the single in the background and a little guitar riff in it, and that kind of just drove people towards it. And then, like District picked it up as well. It was like recent releases in our rotation. And that made me really happy. I was like, oh my God, goodness gracious. And the picture that we took was on the front page. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like, this is like life-changing in a small world. Like, you know, when something happens and you think it's massive. And everybody's like, oh, it's all right. Like, it's all right. I loved it. I was like, look.
Yeah, District is always big, isn't it?
Yeah,
District
like, it's lovely. Like, they're just so nice.
Did you have any mentors? Like, all right, do you have any mentors who kind of help you improve throughout the years? Or... like, let's say if you were to like rate your ability now compared to where you started, is there a big gap there?
I think my friend Chase has really been my mentor as of recently. And before that, it was my friend Jessie. She now lives in London. She was like my producer, and now she moved to London. She's still like, we still keep in touch. She's really lovely. And she was kind of like the forefront manager for me for a short period of time, which was so funny. When I first did I think it was my second show, I opened up for this guy, Aaron J.
Okay.
And so think about it. When I first like started making music, I went to the studio for the first time. So I'd been making all my music from home. I went to the studio for the first time, kicked my feet up. I was like, so what are we doing? And I met this girl called Jessica, and she was just lovely. I was like, look. And we started making music. So think about it, this is unreleased music. So let's say 4 or 5 songs we've made unreleased. And she was like, like, I'm throwing a show for this guy, Aaron J, soon, and he needs an opening act. This is the music we need, but it's unreleased. So she goes, like, the only way, like, I can get you the gig because you have songs out, if you get what I mean, but I have to show him these unreleased songs. And I was like, okay, that. So I went from being his opener to being, like, what's the thing after an opener, special guest, whatever.
Right.
And I ended up opening for him. And that was kind of like my first big show. It was the second show I've ever done.
Okay.
And that ended up being like my first big like show. Like it was just like a sweatbox. I was like, like, you know, when you first start something is the most support you'll ever get.
Yeah.
So that was me first starting. And to have it be the sweatbox that it was made me like a new man. I was like, oh my God, I got swag now. I was so happy with myself.
How hard is it to get that first gig? Because you're kind of unproven, and the promoter's obviously taking a risk on you. Like, was it your friends who gave you the chance, or was it?
It was like when you're running a gig, you kind of like the person who's organizing the gig kind of picks it out. So if I was to get like my first gig now, I don't even know like how I'd go about it, because like I think I'd just I'd show up myself. That's what I do. I'd show up myself with like no audience at all. And I'd sell tickets by myself. That's because of the knowledge I have now.
Okay.
But if I was younger me, I don't know what I'd do. I think I'd talk to more people to kind of ask them how they did it, to kind of get insight to that.
Okay.
But getting your first gig, I think you really have to put out more music. You know what I mean? Like you have to have your own image for them to think that your image works with them, if you get what I mean. So when Lil Yachty is supporting like Tyler, the Creator, because they're both rappers, if you get what I mean. Like,
yeah.
You know?
How does it work in the rap scene? Does it work as in like you get booked for a venue, like a venue will go looking for you?
Yeah.
Or is it kind of like, you know, a group of rappers might be throwing an event and they're like, hey, we need you?
It's both of them.
Is it both? Yeah.
Both of them. You can get like a show promoter who will like come to you and talk to you about a show and like try and like get you to do a show. Like you can go out and source a promoter to do a show with you, to book the venue for you and promote it, and you pick the artist. They help you kind of figure out all that stuff. Or you can have like a group of friends who can run an event together, if you get what I mean. Like if I went to Fortune or something like that, and I'm like, oh, let's run an event. That's how it would go. We'd go and book the venue ourselves. We'd go and sell the tickets ourselves. But everything would be so reliant on us.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean.
Have you done much of that, do you think?
I've done enough of it to know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But not enough of it to say I'm a professional.
Yeah.
And I think going forward, like when I throw events, I know what I want from an event. So I think that's kind of the key. And I know how to market an event. So it's like, that's where I'd be like, I think I'm just waiting to do it now again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I suppose so then first you're just going around to like your friend group and asking them all like, will you come to the gig and things?
Would you buy a ticket there?
Yeah.
Would you help a brother?
And did they end up coming, or did you kind of learn like who are the real friends and who are the ones who are not going to actually come?
It's not like I even had this conversation on my story the other day about like you will get like the odd one who does show support, but more time usually like it depends on like you can't define who your friends are and who your friends aren't by who doesn't support your music. Because I could be making music, and my best friend could be like, that's not for me. If you get what I mean, like you're making music, but you're like you like your friend could love, you know what I mean, Afrobeats.
It's subjective, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's so subjective, and like your friend could love Afrobeats, and you could be making alternate pop. You know what I mean? And you guys could still be good friends. We can disagree, but we can still be friends, kind of thing. You know?
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, but I think most of my friends kind of pulled through, and it was just like, I love the atmosphere in the room. That's what warms my heart when you see the faces. And I think my shows were really, like, I think since I just left secondary school, I think I was just getting to a stage where I wasn't seeing my friends again.
Okay.
So I think every time I show a show, people would come through to like see everybody, and I'd be like in a crowd, I'd be like, you, oh,
Yeah.
so lovely.
What age are you now? Is it 21?
I'm 21. I just turned 21 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Oh man.
Do you get nervous before the gigs?
Oh man, there's this anxiety that just will never, ever go away. No matter how many shows I do, I've had so many people come to me like, you've done so many shows now, you've done so many you've done so many gigs. So do you, that exact question? Do you ever get nervous? I'm like, there's a nervousness that never goes away. Every single time. You will, before you get on stage, there's this like crippling anxiety for just a second.
Yeah.
And my friends are always trying to reassure me that these people are here for you. This is your thing. And I'm like, whew. And I go out there.
Yeah.
And you like, it's like break a leg kind of thing. You
Yeah.
never know how it's going to go. But every time it's gone well. So the anxiety is almost like predetermined.
Yeah.
I know it's there.
I know. It's
every
annoying
time.
too, isn't it? Your brain plays tricks with you. There's no need for it. Like.
Yeah, it almost makes you want to cry. You're like, dude,
Yeah,
why am I?
yeah.
I've almost felt sick. Like it's so bad before. But anxiety is anxiety, man. You know, it's almost one of those things. Like, remember, people are always saying that if we didn't have anxiety, we wouldn't do homework. You know what I mean? Like deadlines is what gives us pressure to do things. You know, if you didn't have a deadline, you'd never do something.
Yeah.
You know, so I think the anxiety is just the pressure to do the thing that you need to do.
Yeah, it is. It is. I agree. How would you describe like your style of music now, or would you describe it? Because I know some people don't like that question being put in a box and whatnot. But like, what are you kind of aiming for at the moment?
Aiming for at the moment, I just like to say I'm a fun pop artist. Like that's all I can say, because more time I've been called a rapper, and I love it because it's funny, because it's like, look, I can rap, but being a rapper entails so much. You know what I mean? Like it entails a certain level of swag, and I just like to think I'm an individual, and I do what I want. So I can't say like I live a rapper lifestyle. Like I drink and I do drugs and I don't know. Like to me, that's what like being a rapper entails sometimes, because that's what the big rappers now are doing. It's like Future, Lil TJ, you know, like all these kind of artists. You'll see them like popping pills, sipping lean, and early on that was kind of the nature of it. You know, it was the culture, and like I just can't accept it. So I just go, I'm a musician, artist. I make pop music. So,
but one of your tracks, "Falling."
Yeah.
I think it was like the first track, like where you're like properly expressing your emotions on it.
Yeah.
What, like, how would you describe that track if you were to like give us like an elevator pitch on?
Elevator pitch. Can I tell you all my problems? Like falling.
Or like the inspiration behind it. Let's say briefly.
Behind falling would be like the guitar riff. It would be when the beat is bad, started playing guitar, and it changed my life, because I think after that song came out, that was really the song, like you said, where I was just expressing my emotions. And so many people came up to me at the show at Shrew, I think it was that October, and were telling me like how much that song resonates with them. And that almost made me want to cry. That was the peak of that song. But elevator pitch for that song, a strong, energetic, alternate pop song.
Okay.
About singing about your problems because your heart's gone cold.
Was thanks for that.
Yeah.
Was Busy on the Beat, was that the last song you released?
Yeah, that was the last song.
And that was a good few months ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So what are you up to now? Have you anything coming up?
Anything coming up? I'd want to be dropping Captain's Calling now. Captain's Calling's produced by my friend Lyd, Paddy, and my other producer Jace, audio engineer. He's great. And then Captain's Calling is going to be coming out, let's say, I can't give you guys a day, because like even myself, I think as music comes fluidly, I never know myself. So it's probably within the next month it'll be coming out, and then a project after that, like a short little mixtape or something like that, because you have to keep the people happy.
Nice.
As much as I tried to make an EP and as much as I tried to make an album, I think coming up very soon, I'll just be dropping a mixtape, because you can try like do a 12-song tape, and I think that's a lot of, it's not even, it's a lot of work. It's just, an album is a statement. It's a statement piece, and I don't want that. I want you to be able to listen to music and be like, oh, this is for this person, or this is for this person. You know what I mean? Oh, Afrobeats is for him, or techno, or like, you know what I mean? Just a little bit of something for everybody. And that's what it would be coming very soon.
Okay. Is album something you look at in the future? Or
yeah.
Just not at the moment?
Not at the moment.
Do you think you'll drift into something like electronic in the future?
No.
Nothing, never.
I hate techno so much.
Absolutely. Nice. I like that.
It's one of those things where it's like, I can't stand it, and maybe it'll grow on me one day, but I just, for now, it's like, no. I know what I like and I know what I don't like.
Do you put much pressure on yourself, like comparing yourself to other artists, or do you not kind of care about that?
I think it's only recently that I stopped doing that, where it's like, when I stopped comparing myself to everybody else, because like, everybody else is fighting their own battle, you know, everybody else has their own problems. So it's like, it's only recently that I learned to like let go of that kind of comparative nature, because it will put you in a box. Mm-hmm. You will see somebody do something and you'll be like, I want to do that. But the only reason they get to do that is because they're them. So you have to be you to do what you need to do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I feel like it just takes a new level of inspiration, because once you start doing you, you're inspiring people to do like you, but them, if you get what I mean. So like, I feel like that's what it was. There was no... Comparison is something that just killed me for so long, I think. And it's just something you'd never want to go back to, because, yeah, curiosity killed the cat, and you know what I mean? Like,
what are like what would you say, like the hidden cost of like being a musician and being in the industry? What are the hard parts that we don't see, let's say?
Money.
Yeah.
The money,
for
sure.
Like,
what are you up against? Like, so when you're going to produce a track, is it like that you can't get the studio time, or you can't pay for the good producers to work with, or what is it?
Firstly, it's the equipment, because you'd want to, if you wanted to do it yourself, you'd have to buy the equipment. Secondly, if you wanted to do it by producer and engineer, you'd have to book the session, then you'd have to pay the engineer.
Right.
You know, and that's kind of how the top tracks are made, like with the producer and the engineer in the studio. You know what I mean? That's what labels are for. They put you in a room with producers and engineers, and they help you make the highest quality sound. But for the people that like can do it themselves, like a prime example would be, you know, D4 David, like Romantic Homicide David, opened for SZA in Malahide Castle when she came. He would be a prime example of somebody who did it himself, because his first song, Romantic Homicide, that was on Billboard charts, was recorded on an iPhone. Like, he did it in his closet on an iPhone by himself on a type beat. Like, influential story, like. But I think what you're up against is just, you're up against the industry. That's what you're up against.
People with more money.
People with more money than you.
Yeah,
like,
makes sense.
Are sessions expensive then in Dublin?
In Dublin, I'd like to say they're reasonable. Like, in Pirate Studios would be like...
Oh, yeah, you have Pirate up there.
Yeah, Pirate Studios would be like €66 for 12 hours.
It's amazing.
In a studio.
That's
It's
insane.
amazing, yeah. It's
And then-
24 hours.
Is it
or
good?
something.
Yeah,
It's a bit ragged, is it?
it's a bit,
I know the ones in London are very
it's a
bad.
bit ranty. It's a bit finished.
It's a
Like,
bit used.
yeah, it's a bit used. The nicer options would, I'd like to say, it's funny because I'm going there after this. I have a session from 9 to 9.
Wow.
The nicer studios would be places like the Playground, Jungle Beam, and then Jafar's just opened up a studio, and that's looking really nice. But yeah, those are the other studios that are really nice that I've been to anyways.
Do you think you're at a disadvantage being in Ireland?
Yeah, because somebody told me this story. It's so funny. It's one of those like inspirational quotes. It's like, but like water and the spa is €2. You go to the airport, it's €3. Go to Dubai, it's $7, right? And it's water every time, but it's in a different place every time. But so like if you were in Ireland with a small market, right? There's so much niche stuff you could do, but there's not enough people doing what you're doing to create what you need in the country. It's like we're starting Fashion Week next week, right? But Fashion Week is something other countries have had for ages. You know what I mean? It's all about bringing new things into the country, which is why I love Gliders. I actually like Gliders because they're like a rap group that really brings things into the country. Like other rappers from the UK and they keep throwing events by bringing people over, which causes like an influx in the market for like the youth to kind of go and like find like music, like the music that they like, and hear the music that they like, and see that it's really possible to bring things into Ireland. But I can't even say I'm at a disadvantage because everybody would hate me. But I think I would be doing better if I was in London. Yeah, I think. Yeah,
just more opportunities to collaborate.
More opportunities, just because more opportunities with more like, because there's more people anywhere. There'd be more
of course.
Opportunities.
Yeah. If like looking back now, would you have done anything differently? Now I know you're very early on, so it's not a big deal. But
would I have done anything differently? No, actually, I like my story.
yeah, good.
I think it's quite fair. You know what I mean, like, there's nothing I'd ever like, because if you did anything differently, things would have went differently. You know what I mean? And I think I'm happy with the way things are, which is why I wouldn't change anything.
Nice. Yeah. When do you say your new track is coming out?
New track would be.
Or do you know?
Out. We're in November. It'd be coming out end of November, start of December.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Is there anything else you want to announce? Have you any gigs coming up or?
There'll be a gig next year. There'll be a headliner next year for sure.
Sweet.
I'll say that for.
Okay, nice one. I think that's all I want to touch on, unless you have any questions, Troy.
No, I think I'm sweet. Yeah.
Okay.
Good stuff, man.
Thanks for coming on.
No problem, man. That's so funny.